This is part 2 of my program to work videos. I didn't expect to be making a follow-on video, but something happened last night. And I just thought, I can't really leave that unsaid. So it's a bit frustrating that I did the video beforehand, and then things happen after. Nothing big. It's just I just felt it deserved to be said. So anyway, before we get onto that, this is my one of my websites. This is Our Mind and Soul, and it's one I'm really putting a lot of passion into. Now, this design's going to evolve a little bit. It's going to get a bit better later. But for now, these ones, because this is segregated, this section here is spirituality. So if there's no new spirituality article, this isn't really going to change. But if you scroll down a little bit, you will see the recent posts here, recent articles. And then we got here, look, we've got program to work, time to pursue our freedom. It's in line with these videos. So I've got an article now. I've linked it in the description. And I've just gone a little bit of provide a little bit of information there, and then we go to the video. So this is the original video. This is part 1. I will likely add part 2 video underneath that video. So it's a website to allow me to just reach more audiences, keep all my content in one place to make it easy for people to find and just absorb everything at once. So if you come here and you was to go on that article, you can read a bit about the topic at hand without investing in the video yet, and then you can watch the video, of course, after. And then you start seeing some of my other work through my books and things. So it's just, for me, I've just thought it was a really good way to go about doing that. So anyway, yeah. So that's what I did after the fact. And then I spoke to sort of my mum about something. And that made me go, yeah, okay, I'm going to have to talk a little bit here. So I'm very transparent about myself. I don't expect to be liked or understood by everybody. But it doesn't change who I am, So I would much rather be myself in all my facets, really. And people either appreciate, let's say, got respect, and then maybe people invest in the future in some way, or maybe they don't. But I'd rather be me and be rejected than be someone else and be accepted, So that's just what I've always been like. So I've always just been like that innately. It's always been, I'm me, and this is who I am. I don't conform. And it's not because I'm trying to be different. I just can't be any other way. So again, it makes me unhinged in traditional pockets of society because my values are just completely different to the average person. The average person just accepts tradition. They accept norms as though this is the fundamentals. This is the way it is. It's like, but I question everything and say, why is that so? Just because someone says this is how we do it doesn't mean you should. So like I'm always bouncing against tradition because most of tradition is a load of nonsense, to be totally honest. It's been built on faulty foundation. So like I say, with me, I'm very different, but I am me. That's the thing. So I think there's an awful lot of people out there who they're not true to themselves. They've just, they just evolved to fit in with the status quo, and then it becomes that sheep mentality where one person does this, the other person agrees because they've all followed suit, and all of a sudden now like I said, now I'm the unhinged, now I'm the different one, and people just can't wrap their head around it sometimes. But it's because I didn't sell out, if you like. I didn't accept what I don't agree with. So yeah, this one's going to be a bit more spiritual. It's not going to be a very long video though, so don't expect anything long. It's not, because it's just like I just wanted to add on to what I did previously. But there is a spiritual overtone to this, and like I say, in many of my videos, I try to segregate them where I can, but I'm not going to ignore any spiritual episode or situation that ties along with something. So I will say it, and if people don't like it, you can just skip over it. Not hurting anyone. Me sharing my journey, my beliefs are mine. So I spoke recently about a job interview I had, and out of 100 people, I got selected. There are a few things that are causing that not quite right. It's just frustrating because it's a good in logistics and warehousing. It's a good paying job in the UK. I've said it before. It's 31,500 a year, so it's working out about 2,000, nearly 2,200 per month. Salary. So it's like, that's good, especially when you've been struggling for ages. You'd think you'd bite someone's hand off for that, wouldn't you? In principle, I would. That's great. For the work you do, that's great. But I have a hard time adhering to rules when I don't. It bothers me a lot. Like, so for me, principle is everything. So my life is never governed by money. Of course, I need money just like everybody else, and I have desires just like everybody. So I'm not saying I don't have things I want, and I'm still bound by the same rule set everybody else has to live by. But there's parts of me that just won't back down on some things. And my spirituality is one of them. Again, the people are going to think that's delusional. But again, to each their own. I'm not here to tell people to follow. I'm not here to ever say that what I do is the right thing. So, for instance, I use my cards. I asked a question, and and I was saying something to my mum, and she goes, "Well, you always right. Your cards are always right." I said, well, "I'm not saying they're all right." I said, "I don't know if they're always right." I said, "But they're always consistent." That's the thing. I'd never get when I ask questions. I'd never get deviations. It never contradicts. So if something's yes, it doesn't tell me yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, yes, and confuse the shit out of me. It doubles down. So it's absolute yes or absolute no. There might be a little bit of perhaps like a bit of ambiguity, open to interpretation to a degree. Like it's not set in stone, sort of thing. So that become quite obvious to me in those things. But a lot of time, if it's yes, it's like an absolute yes or it's absolute no. So I'm not saying 100% every single one is always going to be accurate, although I believe they are. But I'm not going to say that, although I've alluded to there. But I'm not saying it as 100. I'm not saying it as gospel, but I'm saying for my own self, I believe what I get. And I understand the average person who isn't on my journey, hasn't had the experiences I've had, will interpret life in a different way. And again, that's up to them. I'm not, it's just whatever people want to live by. So for me, like for other people, I'm going to be very unhinged. I'm very unhinged. Because when it comes to my core values, that holds more truer than anything. And that's where people just wouldn't understand the level of faith I have in my path, in my guidance, and all those things. It's going to be delusional to most people, and I absolutely understand that. But I trust that more than a contract, So that I can. The reason I say it in these ways, there's going to be people that do understand what I'm saying. There's going to be people that really, I'm going to seem far out the left field. My mum understands my spiritual path, but she lives in a very practical way. So she sees the hardship I go through, and she can understand from just watching on that I need a breakthrough. I need stability now. And I do need stability. But I'm prepared to take bigger risks than anyone I've ever known. Like anyone I've ever known. So I know when I know my mum's reaction as soon as I say something because she's very practical. So I told her about this job, for instance, and I will go deeper into some of the things I'm a little bit concerned with, and it's going to be, I think, minor to the average person because the average person is just interested in money, money, money. And I think I'm a bit more pragmatic though, in the sense that I recognise there's always more money to get somewhere else, and does it really matter if you get a little bit less somewhere else if it's going to make you happier overall? And it's these things. Now, again, opportunities don't always come along. You might have to wait another 6 months. There's no guarantees of anything, is there? But I want to just go down that little path a little bit. Not to say that I'm right at all. It's not about that. It's about just understand, maybe follow my train of thought. It might help people. Just, again, not to say you do what I do, but just help open people's minds. You might think a little bit different, or just think a little bit more, just have a little bit more of a moment to reflect, I guess. So I spoke in the other video that I've got appointments coming up that I already had planned, but in the eagerness to accept the role, because it happened so fast, I had a phone interview on Monday or Tuesday. I think it was Monday. Then I had a face-to-face interview, and I was away from home. I was in my hometown where I had dropped off my daughter, so it's 100 miles away. I was spending a few days with my mum. She wanted me to stay longer. Again, I've talked about this. I think this helps with my spiritual path, actually, and I spoke about it back then. Again, I can't remember the exact cards now because I've done a lot since. But I'd been there since Friday. My daughter had to go home Saturday, and that's where we go because me and her mum are both from the same hometown, so that's where we end up. I have to travel all the way down. They travel down there. It's a whole thing. But my mum don't see me that much. We talk all the time on the phone, but she doesn't get to see me too often. So she wanted me to stay a bit longer, and I had this feeling, and again, that's what I follow a lot. I had this feeling to go home. I need to go home. even though I could just stay there, for a bit longer. But I had this feeling I need to go home. I need to go home. So I got my cards and I said, should I go home? And I think I can't remember all the cards, but I do remember this one clearly. I had the 4, so that was a brand new journey. That's something brand new. That's a real big yes. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna go today because I think I need to go. And I felt it. I felt it, and the card validated it. It just confirmed. So Mum's going, we could stay an extra few days. I'm like, I really don't think I can. I need to be going now. But anyway, later on, I put the fuel in the car, and then I thought, you know what, I could go back just for a day or two. I don't think it'll hurt. So I drove back rather than continue my journey. And I went back to her home, and I just felt uneasy. I just felt, I don't think you're making the right decision. I think it's nostalgia. You're just gravitating to home because you haven't been for it. You want to spend some time here, but you've got things to do. You need to be going. You need to be getting on. Effectively, it's like get on with life. We need to be moving forward. We can't stagnate, just sit around. We need to move. So I asked the cards. When I say my cards, I've got my tarot deck. Should I stay a few more days? And it was no. I can't remember the exact card. I don't know if it was like 6 of Wands. It was something Wands, but it was so evident in the card that you're just fighting yourself. The other card was an emphatic yes to go, wasn't it? This one was an emphatic no, do not stay. So both cards were telling me go. And this is what I'm saying. It's just the consistency of the message. Very rarely does it contradict. I say rarely because I can't remember a situation where it does, but I can't guarantee it hasn't. So So I said to my mum, I bet when I get home, something's going to happen. I don't know what's going to happen, but I have a real feeling something's going to happen. I'm not talking a few days. I think it'll happen when I get home. And I've said, I don't know if it will, but I just have this feeling. And I've said it before. Like I got home, parked up outside. My daughter had messaged me about, I can't remember what she messaged me about now. Oh no, I think it was suitcases because I got to buy her a suitcase for our upcoming holiday. And she picked a colour, and I got it close. I said olive green. She chose forest green. But there was all these other colours. I knew she wanted green. So that was still good. But there was no other, I didn't notice, at least, any other notification on my phone. There was nothing else there. That was what I was dealing with. So then I turned the engine off, unpacked the car, get everything in the house. And, maybe 5 minutes of being home, 5-10 minutes, I got a notification to check a job app where I'd applied for a job, and they had set so that person who I'd had the phone call interview with back at my mum's, they invited me for a face-to-face interview, and they wanted it quite quick. And the funny thing is, so the interesting part of that is, had I been at my mum's home, I would have had to rush back anyway, because the job interview was in 2 days. So it's like, oh wow, that's crazy. So anyway, yeah, that all pointed towards that. Then I said, will I be offered the job? Because it's like, I don't know how many are applying. I don't know the situation. I just thought I'd ask, will I be offered the job? I got the high priestess. And that was almost like this is a divinely guided situation. Yeah. It was yes. If you told me yes, no, that's absolute yes. So I was like, oh, okay, this is cool. But keep it in the back of your mind. You don't go in ignorant or arrogant. You don't go, oh, I've just got it because I was, science says I got it. You still got to do the right things, And then I was offered the role like the day after, and they were holding interviews just that day and the day after. So I didn't expect to hear anything till next week, the following week. But I heard that they got back to me Monday about 1:00 or something, which surprised the life out of me because I was doing a video, I was doing a chat to my daughter. We was talking for a good hour or so on the phone, and then I was doing something. I think she wanted to switch from like WhatsApp to FaceTime or something. So she could use an iPad. I've got about 5 missed phone calls. And I just thought, holy shit, I better deal with this. And she's kept trying to call me back, so I kept declining it. And I was trying to type a message to her to say, look, I need to phone this back. Every time I kept declining, she kept calling me again because she'd got no impatience. I thought, for God's sake, just let it stop for a minute. But anyway, so when I finally got hold of the people, they said, they're offering me the role. But the point is, all my cards led me to that. So this is what I think that's where it's really important I share that side. I wasn't really going to go to that depth, but maybe it helps. If you talk about like were the cards accurate, yeah, and it's a feeling I have that's always usually on point too. Of course, our emotions can get in the way, so you do have to be a bit more mindful of that. But Overall, I know when something's coming. I feel it. It's really strange. It's just an intense knowing. It's not about having a sign. Or I saw this number plate. Or I saw that. It's a knowing in my own mind. I just know immediately. Like, oh, it's like an alarm bell's just gone off. It's like something's just alerted me to something, and I know that. It might be a name. It might be a person. I'm just thinking. Like, all of a sudden, I'm thinking that. But I'm thinking this. It's just always happening. It's just weird. But with the job, it's just there's a few things that just like my back can be a problem sometimes. My back hurts. I did say that at the interview. Walking around, it looked quite bulky, some of the stuff, and I just thought, oh wow, this could push me. I'm not sure. I'm hoping I'll be all right because you always think in the best circumstance, don't you? They had a mezzanine. I don't really like heights, so I thought, shit, that could be. I don't really want to be up there too often. The forklifts, I've done really high with the forklift, a reach truck, but this was a little bit. This was a high, like levels higher than I've done before, and I've already done high, but that was just a bit extreme, and I just thought I don't know how comfortable I am with that. Although you soon learn, but I thought, oh. So there are like within the role, some like, little bit of a concern. Then the fact that you're working 9 hours and you only get half an hour break, I think it's a bit much. Like personally for me, I think it's ridiculous because if you get hungry, what are you supposed to do? If you get thirsty, what are you supposed to do? Like you just people just say get on with it. It's like yeah, but you treat people with dignity, with respect. I think that's mad. And then within the contract, there was a stipulation about having your own business or something. It's just you have to inform them of shit or something. And and I'm thinking I'm not stifling my own personal progress and the ambitions I have because a job doesn't want you to grow or something. I don't that raised an alarm bell there. One thing was a bit weird. It said if you pass any education or something, you must tell them. I thought I don't have to tell you all this shit. This is ridiculous. But some of the contracts, like, I'm thinking this is a bit mad. I just want a job. I just want to get paid. I'm not freaking giving away my life rights here. It's a little thing. It's all the little things add up though, don't they? The other thing is it's really far away. For me, it's really far away. Like I'm in an area where there should be plenty of jobs. I shouldn't even have to travel this distance, and it's 25 miles away. It takes about half an hour because it's on a main road, but it's still about 35 minutes. But it costs a lot in fuel. But I'm also aware of it'll push my car insurance to crazy town. My car insurance, I'm pretty sure I'm saying about 8,000 miles average per year. So that'll have to change. Now, right now, it wouldn't matter because even if I started now, I haven't done anywhere near that yet. So within the time frame of the renewal, it wouldn't affect it. So it'd be the next renewal. I'd have to update the information. But over the whole year, I do about 8,000 miles. I haven't even been hitting that because of my lifestyle so far. But this job, I did the maths, and I think it was about 13 or 14,000 miles just for the job. And I thought, blood per year, and I just thought that's insane. That on top of my any sort of like domestic lifestyle things and travel, like spend time with my daughter and thing, it's going to go through the roof. So not only is your insurance premium going to go up, but obviously your cost of fuel, your reliance on that. Like what happens if you can't get in? What happens if there's an issue? You have to think of these contingencies, don't you? And then I was thinking about the wear and tear on my car. I don't really want to be replacing my car in a year because I'm doing a year's worth of I'm doing 5 years worth of driving in a year or something. It's just like what we're doing. Again, I know these look like excuses, but they mount up. And it just creates a bit of uncertainty. There's also the inability to be home for house repairs, all these different things. When you do, like for instance, if you just did an early shift job, you would have the afternoon free, so you can still have these appointments and things. And it just gives you a bit of flexibility in your life. And that, for me, that's really important. When I feel trapped, I get really annoyed. And it's all well and good working like during the day, but when it consumes the whole daytime, morning and afternoon, there's no wiggle room for anything. So if I have to have anything happening with the home, I can't do it during the week, and it's only available during the week where I live because I don't own the home. So wait a minute. The whole time I'm there, I can never be available for any of these things, and these are problems because you can't just forgo everything in your own personal life because a job says so. But again, they're rewarding you handsomely, like I will say handsomely, but better than the average job. But the reality is, for me to do that job, the take home would be about £1,900 a month because it would cost me about £300 a month just to travel there. My car's a 2.5 litre engine. I'm not changing my car. I like my car. But the point is, all of that, and there may be a job more local that doesn't require me to use so much fuel, so I can take less pay. Maybe there's a job with like more reasonable hours. And if you're more local, you can get home quickly if you need to do something, you know. But anyway, I know this looks like excuses, but I'm just saying all those things. Now, I already had the positive omen about the job because I'd asked for my cards before I got it. But I'm thinking, why am I thinking like this? Why am I being negative to a degree? Because this job would ease a lot of financial pressure on me, you know. And I know 99% people in my situation would jump at this opportunity, and that's why I say I'm unhinged, because I'm different to average person. So I asked my cards last night. I said, "Does Spirit, like my guys?" So I'll just say, "Does Spirit? Does Spirit want me to start this job? Like, do they want me to start this job?" And I kid you not, and I was like, "Freaking heck, this doesn't help me at all." Like, it's an absolute, but it doesn't help my circumstance in the slightest. What I need, really. So I've been struggling financially for ages. So it's like this was finally my breakthrough, you know. But in my mind, I'm thinking, this is exhausting. Keep doing this. Keep working in warehousing for me is getting exhausting because I've put so many years in creating other stuff. You know, the creative industry where I do my videos, where I do my books, where I do my website. For me, it's just frustrating that I still have to balance two worlds. And every time every time I throw myself 100% into warehousing, it does not have it has a huge knock on what I'm able to do with what I really want to do with my life. You know, so all of a sudden I won't be doing so many videos because I'll be too tired, and I just won't be focused on it. I won't. My books will take a back seat because I'll be tired and it won't feel as important right now, and all these things. I don't know whether the website would be more as consistent as it is with the growth and what I would intend to do with it. So it does have a knock-on effect because you're working constantly. You know, the job would be all day pretty much. So you've got a few hours in the evening, and then you've got your weekends off. So it's a problem. If I didn't have any other ambitions, then fine, you just put up with it like everybody else does, I guess. But even then, I don't do well with it. But anyway, so I asked whether Spirit wants me to start the job. And I got the 9 of swords and the 10 of swords. They were absolute no's. All of them, like, loads of swords in your back. Exhaustion, suffering, huge burdens. And it was like, that doesn't help me at all. Like, it correlates with what I'm thinking and feeling in my heart. It's exactly how I feel. But it doesn't help me financially, does it? That doesn't help me now. That really puts a freaking spanner in the works. I assumed this was maybe an opportunity until that breakthrough comes or something in different avenues. But to get an absolute no, it's like crying out loud. Like, I feel it myself, and I can like I just said all the reasons, and they mount to other people. The reasons I say would be small to people. To me, they're huge. They're really, really big because my dreams are big. Like when you talk, if you think about like the ranking of significance in your life, for the average person, money is the biggest thing for them. It's just the way they're conditioned, and their life's all about the things they have, it's just different to me, you know. It's just I just live different, and my principles are so different. It's just the way I am. So my number one isn't money like everybody else. So everybody's priorities are different to me. Me, it's about freedom. It's my happiness. It's my creative goals, my dreams, so it's ambitions and all those things. And these are things that only I can create. It's not something someone can just give me. It's what I do for me, you know, and it's this creative pursuit that I have for myself and the vision I have for my life. These are all the fundamentals. And then money. But of course, there's times when I've sacrificed all of this for money, you know, where I don't have the money now. And there's times when I really could do with some money. And you just want to put it at the top. To what extent? To what extent, you know? So for me, the idea of getting money at the detriment of everything else, it really it sears into my soul. It bothers me immensely. So, like I say, it goes full circle because we had that. I had that. Then I was just moaning to myself like, "This is a joke. This is a joke. That gives me money, and it helps my situation at the moment. And yet, everything I do, like creatively, all the work I do, as wonderful as it is, it never helps me financially. I'd never get a breakthrough. So what's the point in the end? Like when it's this hard all the time, you know? And out of nowhere, because I'm shuffling the cards at the same time while I'm complaining, I had the High Priestess again. And I knew immediately what it means. It was saying you do things the right way. You're in alignment. And it's pretty much saying everything will work out, you know, because you're doing it for the right reasons. And I just knew it immediately. I just thought, oh, it's all right, keep getting these signs, but my life's hard, man. Life's always hard. And I kid you not, like I don't talk about it here very often anymore, but even on my TikTok, it keeps saying about breakthroughs coming and your status rising and all this and authenticity and people seeing this and all this shit. But I've been seeing it for a long time and it's intensifying, but I just get sick of hearing it, you know, because my life never matches the sign I get in that sense. It just never comes. So we do have to be practical in our life, and I get that. But like I said, I'm more faith, you know, things like that. And my mum is very practical. She believes in those things, but it scares her sometimes, and she's very much more practical. So where this video started was the fact that I got really defensive. She knows not to. She knows I'll go on and on if she pushes back too much on something because of my principles. And I knew where she was going to say immediately. So I wasn't even. I tell her everything, but in this instance, when I was talking about the job situation, like my reticence at the moment, I knew not to say anything because I know what she's going to say. She's just going to say, "Suck it up and get on with it for now." But it's like you're not getting the signs, and you don't quite get it. But I think she believes because it's a lot to have faith, isn't it? Like to have faith, like to ultimate faith. It means, I mean, times 11:11 now. That's insane. I don't know if it's going to come up on 11:11. Bloody hell! But let's talk about faith. That's magical. But to have faith, it really does take courage, like immense courage. It risks everything. It really does. And that's the level of faith I have, though. But other people I know don't. They have faith when it's clear, when it's obvious it's going to work. They don't have faith when it's looking chaotic. And that's understandable. But I do. I just know the timelines are never how we want them to be. And it could be another 3 months, 6 months, a year of shit. It really could. But that's the risks that I take with my life, you know. But others don't feel comfortable with that. And my mum certainly doesn't feel comfortable watching me struggle, knowing there's something you can do about it. So I said to her about the job and all these things. And I mentioned the fact that I absolutely hate the fact that, because I don't like people having autonomy of our lives. Again, freedom is everything. That's one of my top things. I don't like the fact that we give up so much for money. The money gives us these things. Of course, it gives you a home, it gives you food, it pays your bills. A lot of these are external pressures and burdens placed upon us. Again, if you look at the societal standards, it's just a model that's fit for those who are looking to leech. So, look, I can go on a huge tangent about money and where it all goes and all this shit. But it bothers me in every metric. So that's bad enough. And then I think about the fact that most people work 5 days a week. You don't really have a lot of free time in the evening. But again, most people are settled into this. So this isn't me trying to feel sorry for myself and not understanding how everybody else lives. What I'm saying is everybody else just accepts and toes the line, knowing full well it's not fair. They say there's nothing else we can do about it. But it's like, that's your choice. There is things you can do about it. You can downright refuse. And the more people refuse, the system has to change. But people are just not prepared to be vulnerable. And again, I can understand it, but don't say there's nothing you can do about it when there is. So, yeah. So anyway, that situation comes around where I know what's going to happen. As soon as I say something, she's going to say, suck it up, which she does. She's like, well, everybody, this was her thing. Because I said, I hate it. I absolutely hate that we give 5 days, a job takes 5 days of our life every week. We get 2 days. We get a little bit in the evening, but you don't really enjoy it. And then you got 2 days off and you're recovering and then setting up for the next week anyway. But either way, they get 5 days, you get 2. Next week, they get 5 days, you get 2. For the rest of your life, you give 5 days to something just to get some money and you get 2 days to yourself. I said, I can't live like that my whole life. And she said, and again, look, I understand the validation with it. She said everybody else does. Everybody else has to, so that's just that's what people have to do. Which I knew was coming, and that's when straight away based on, if you think about if anyone saw my other video, you I said, well, just because people do something doesn't make it right. That's what I said. I said, just because people do it doesn't make it right. So that's not normal. It's not how life should be. Just because someone tells you this is what should happen doesn't mean we should. And I said that. I said if I have to work 5 days for my whole life, 5 days with 2 days off, 5 days, 2 days off. I said there's no point living like that. For me, there's no point living. It's just a waste of life. You just might as well stop now. I won't. I can guarantee that right now, 100%. I can swear on my life, I will not live like that throughout my lifetime. You might do it in pockets. You'll never see me stay somewhere long but doing that, because it doesn't sit right with me at all. So employers might look and think, well, you never stay anywhere long enough. No, because it's shit. It's shit. The model is crap, and you have to put up with it. And I end up getting fed up with the whole process. I don't like it at all. So I don't care. If it means my life's unstable, I don't care. I'll find pockets of freedom, and I'll make sure I carve out my freedom. But I don't care about the financial pressures and shit that come with it. It's just I'm used to it. I can handle that. I'd much rather have time, because time is where I can curate. When you die, if you think, I don't want to go too dark there, but when time comes to an end, maybe you look back at your life, maybe you don't. But living a life where you was just told what to do throughout the whole situation, and you never really had autonomy of your life, like, what sort of life is that? Like, for me, that's what life is. That you can live however you want, and you choose to be dictated and told this is how you must live. And it's like, I refuse to do that. The only regret I would have based on my lifetime up to now is that the world is the way it is. I never regret, and this isn't because I'm trying to say I do everything the right way and I'm perfect. It's not the case at all. But I do everything the right way for me. I don't regret anything I've done. There's one moment where it's not a regret. It's just I could have done that different. And it's just one little thing. I had a job a long time ago, back when I was 20 something. It's about 20 odd years ago now, 20 years ago. A lot of people were leaving this warehouse job where we was doing forklifts, and they were going to a dock, a port. And I wasn't going to leave, but I just thought, I'll look into it. So I applied, and straight away I got an answer back to say the management they'd gone across my resume, and they were interested in interviewing me for like a team leader role instead of just the normal role. I said, I don't know, I just want the role I applied for. And they said, yeah, that's absolutely fine. I got that job. Now, that's the only thing I would say is perhaps a bit of naivety there, a bit of immaturity. In hindsight, maybe I should have at least tried. But then if I weren't ready, I weren't ready. But that's the only thing. That in terms of work, in the traditional sense, that was the one. But then I don't do well with conforming anyway, so I don't suppose that would have worked out. Anyway, so it don't really matter, does it? But anyway, overall, though, throughout my life, people can question this and question that. But in my own self, I don't regret any of it. Because it's not my fault the rules are the way they are. So it's not my decisions I regret. It's just it's the fact that we have to live this existence. And to do this, you have to lose that. And it's just a sacrifice then. But I don't regret anything I do. So whenever my time comes to an end, I would never be regretful. All I would look at and think is, I wish the world had been more fair. That's all I would think. I wouldn't think for a moment, oh, you shouldn't have left that job. You shouldn't have done this. You should have had, no. I've used the time I've had to the best I possibly can. There's always more we could do, but we just burn out. I've done 7 books in this period of uncertainty. I'm doing my website now, just creating this. So I'm always in the level of creation, doing my thing my way. But when you work for jobs, of course, it pays your bills. And again, I'm not saying these are negative things, because these are things that help us, of course. It gives us experiences, and it helps us have other things in our life. And you get rewarded for it, of course. But it is building someone else's passion, someone else's business, isn't it? So something that someone else created, it's expanded to the point where they can have people help them with it, and then they pay you for it. Whether you're rewarded fairly is another thing, but you're rewarded. But to be rewarded, you have to be bound by a load of rules. Not the same rules the person who created it has to be bound by. Now, look, I understand. Look, some people get really resentful about owners, but I don't, because I recognize they're the ones that put their money where their mouth is. They're the ones that put the work in, blah, blah, blah. But we have a decision to make for ourselves. Do we want to work for someone else and adhere to their rules? Or do we want to create our own opportunities and live by our rules? And that's just where I come from. So I'm just rather do my own thing. Often I look and think, I don't have a clue I'm going to make money doing it the way I'm doing it, but I'm still doing it my way because I'm principle minded. I don't sell out. I don't do things in a nefarious way to try and get a quick buck. So I do look and think, I don't know how I'm going to make money out of this, to be totally honest. But I like what I do, but I've got no idea that this is going to get money in terms of like customers and all that sort of stuff, you know. Now the books, of course, could help with that, and that makes logical sense. But the other stuff I do, I mean, you're just reliant on advertising and sponsorship or something, aren't you? But yeah, I don't know. So yeah, anyway, so there was, like I said, I had the cards saying that, and then I was talking to, like I said, I was talking to my mum about it, and I just knew not to say too much to her because I think some parts of my life, I just think I'm the only one that truly understands how I'm processing things. So this is how I think. Let's say I didn't take the job. Let's say I decide, you know what, I'm listening. I'm going to take that faith. I'm going to go with it. I'm always honest, but because like I know how protective my mum is and things, I almost feel like it's best to not update her anymore on the situation. And almost like let her assume something, although of course she's going to ask how it went and things. Let's say you didn't go, but it's just so frustrating. I just wish, sometimes I just wish people would leave me alone. Just leave me alone to let me sort it out. Because if you ask, like if someone was saying 6 months, I'm pretty confident in the 6 months to a year, although I always am really, to be honest, and it doesn't always work out, but I'm always confident with that though in my mind that it will work out. Just let me create, let me do what I got to do. And these leap of faiths, although dangerous at times, because it puts you in poverty. It comes with consequences, of course. I'm always confident it works out. It's just everybody around me are the ones that are uncertain, and it's like it doesn't help me. My level of certainty is so high. It's a knowing, just like all the other things where I said I knew this was going to happen, I knew that was going to happen, I know this is inevitability. This is going to happen. I just don't know how and I don't know when. All I know is I need to be prepared, and I need to be ready, and I need to keep doing the work, and I need to be this, and you know, it's alignment. And like I say, other people won't get it, so I don't need their judgment or their expectation of this and this and this, the pressure and all that to bother me, because it never does. It never dictates my decisions. I never just make a decision because someone's going to think I'm nuts. It's like, oh, I'd just rather think I'm nuts. I really don't care. You can judge me poorly for it. It's like, fine. You know, and it's not about told you so when I'm successful and things. It's just within my own self. I know it was going to happen. So why would I give up a dream just because others are insecure about following that same process? You know, if that makes sense. That's how I just wanted to get through. I hope I've made it as clear as I possibly can. I don't know if I've explained deep enough how frustrated I get with working 5 days a week and having 2 to yourself. Just it's principle. If you follow the principle, you'll understand how it's not right. And it's just because it's standard, it looks like you're nuts. Because everyone does it. It's like it doesn't make it right. It doesn't make it right at all. Bare minimum, we should get 3 days off and work 4. But even then, I think that's not even right. I think we should be working potentially 3.5 days to make it fair, or 3 or 4 days. And then people should be enjoying themselves more. People should have the freedom every week to go and enjoy like mini holidays, mini breaks, spend time with your family, do things, build community and shit, you know, or just do things for yourself at home. You should get to live. Work shouldn't just be our life. And I think that's the part that bothers me all the time. If work is most people's lives, and I think it's sad. Now, but some people in certain situations have very limited choices. I'd never say you have no choice, because there's always a choice. It's just the consequences can be quite severe. But somehow the world has to shift. It has to be about people. If you look at the way the world is now, I mean, I was going completely off topic. It's becoming very robotic, automated, isn't it? We're hearing about AI. We've got automated systems, robots replacing people. That's really where industry is going in the wrong direction, though. It's all about efficiency. And you can understand that, but then who's the consumer going to be? If you become that efficient, you take away the workforce, well, then no one has any money. Even the corporations will crumble because they'll have no one to service. It makes no sense. The whole system doesn't make sense. because they got so greedy, they got lost sight of the fact that the consumer is the workforce. It's an organism. So think about it this way. I'm probably just ahead of my time, really, but I've looked like a nutcase. If the consumer if the workers are the consumer, so the product serves them, wouldn't it make more sense for people not to work all the time though, and have a ability to spend time spending? So if you had more people traveling because they have more days off, that's going to help the tourism, isn't it? It's going to help all the other industry because we keep investing money. So the economies would grow because people are actually spending their money. But at the moment, people don't even have time. Why the logic in all this shit? Instead, it just goes to different things. Now, you could go down the whole path of the way money is taken from us anyway. So that's why we desperately need it, because you've got all these places, all these taxations where or duty tax. So we've got everything's pretty much got a taxation on it. We get taxed on our income. You get taxed on inheritance. You get taxed on bloody savings with your interest if it goes over a certain thing because it's seen as an income. Again, that's another income source. It's just like it's everything and everything that in America you get property tax, in the UK we get council tax, so you pay it directly to the local government. It's really, isn't it? It just, where does it stop? There's always someone or something just trying to drain money off us, and it's like eventually it's just when is there ever enough? It's just you're going to struggle anyway. I know this comes, again, I keep saying unhinged because I know how I come across. I'm not stupid. I'm not a naive individual. I know how it comes. I know how it's seen. I know how it sounds, But all I want to do is just show how I feel. And I'm just so frustrated that nothing works out the way I think it should. To have money, you have to always conform. Otherwise, you struggle, And it's always been a struggle. But anyway, I'll do this. I'll show to explain. I'll do it here. Does Spirit want me? Oh, I can't do it because I've shown the name of the job. I don't want it. There's a level of I think personally, keep things, respect the branding and things. Hopefully, it doesn't shift. This was what the cards I got. So this was back of the deck is my energy, really, because that's the back of the deck. So that's setting boundaries, that's being firm. But I asked whether I should start the job, and that's what I got. Because I take screenshots, I take photos sometimes. See the swords? But no, but the other one at the top is knowing your worth and not putting up with shit. It's a hard choice with that one because that's a decent pay, And then I asked about creative because this is where I am. I'm in the creative industry. This is what I see. If you talk about career, this is where I see myself. This is what I've been doing for years. I just don't get rewarded for it at all. At all. No breakthroughs. No breakthroughs. I don't get any views. I don't get any money. Because if I just got views on YouTube and it went up and the subscribers went up and things, which I don't normally care about, but if you get to a certain level, you can monetize it. It's not too big a hindrance to people, but I can start making some money from the work I do. I'll do it all for free at the minute. It's mad, isn't it? I don't not put the effort in, but I don't get rewarded anywhere for it. All of the work I've done forever. Like banging your head against a wall. Anyway, will I get a breakthrough soon in the creative industry? I was like, holy shit. Again, I'm only showing the signs I get. Let me see if I can bring that down. If I bring it down, we should be able to see it a bit better. Although I wouldn't have thought you could, but yeah, okay, you can. Oh, okay. Well, the camera's going a bit nuts. Oh, I'll tell you what the cards are. So I actually got the star, which is a wish. It's a massive dream, massive wish, but it's like crazy because that's a major arcana. So that's actually really significant. That's an absolute yes. Then you've got the Three of Pentacles. So that's your hard work. So hard work is paying off big time. And then the back of the deck is actually you've got options. So you can have choices to make and things, or working on different skills. So either way, that is an absolute yes. So will I get a breakthrough soon in creative industry? Absolute yes. Should I start the job? Absolutely no. And it's like, this is what I'm saying though. These are like, it's contradictory to my experience. Will I get a breakthrough in the creative industry? I've never had a breakthrough in the creative industry. It never works out at all. But I'm getting a yes for that, like a major yes. And then with the job, should I start the job? Something I desperately need financially? No, we don't want you there. So if you actually if you go beyond faith and you talk about practicalities, it makes more sense based on my experience to take the job and start it, have that solid foundation, and put the creative pursuits on the back burner because it hasn't been successful at all. But if you do the opposite of being practical, and I say follow faith, faith suggests the opposite of that, doesn't it? Faith suggests we don't want you there. We want you focused on your creative thing. It's going to pay off. This is really where you get that. What you do, I'm very much more faith based, so I do take those leaps and I do follow spirit, because if you actually look at it, it's like I said, it's not whether it's accurate, because you can only determine whether it's accurate after the fact. But I'll say most of the time, it usually is. Usually is, and it's the consistency, isn't it? It's absolute yes with this one, absolute no with the other one. This is the other thing. I'm curious with this. This is one I asked because I really wanted to ask this question just for my own transparency, really, just to see how accurate these cards are being. But so I've got an inheritance coming, which will help. But by the time I've paid for a holiday, paid off some bills, it's not going to be a lot. And if I've not got income coming in elsewhere, it's going to drain immediately. It's not going to last long at all, like very long at all, because there's not a lot left after all the things I've accounted for. Spending money for my daughter, spending money for me, spending like the holiday and some other little bits and some debts and stuff. There's not a lot left after. And I've already worked it out. So I'm like, okay, this is. So it's not like, all of a sudden it's going to change your life for a long time. No, it's not. But I need that sustainability on the background to help maintain it. Otherwise it's gone. It's just life. Anyway, so my daughter's birthday's coming up in actually a week. Just over a week. But let's say less than 10 days. So I asked, will I get... my mum's just signed the forms for this inheritance, but she was told it could take 2 to 3 weeks. But I already asked earlier, like a few days before that, I think, or a week before, I think a few days before, I asked, will we get it in April? Because I kind of need it in April. And I got yes for my cards. And then yesterday, I think it was, I said, will I get my inheritance money before my daughter's birthday? Just see if we can take her name off. Yeah. I kid you not. And this is what I'm talking about. Like, this is crazy. Unfortunately, I can't get it any clearer because just camera's been a pain in the ass. But this one's absolute yes, clarity, truth revealing and all that, which is the Ace of Swords. Then you've got the Queen of Cups, which is more about your intuition, so you intuit with your emotions. But intuitively, I feel that way. So that's saying yes, because it's there. But if you actually look at what the current energy is, if you look at it, it's like receiving money. Look, I don't know if it's actually going to be clear with this one, but they're coins. And it's like, if you look at the questions I'm asking, very, very mad that. And we weren't supposed to, for all intents and purposes, one would assume we're getting it in May. So if it happens sooner than that, that's a bit mad. But again, that's really mad for other people, but I'm used to it. This is the thing. If someone's not spiritual, it's going to make no sense to them. And if someone's not gifted in any way, then and the cards always confuse them, it's like, again, it's not going to make sense. With me, the consistency is always there, And we've had me and my daughter have had loads of things happen, to be totally honest. Like, she's asked me questions about things that are happening with her life at the moment. All of a sudden it happens, and it's things. And she does her own cards as well. I don't want to go too deep into that. I really don't want it to be about this spiritual thing. I just want it to be more about the pragmatic of life and looking at the way we live and the decisions we make and how we want to live and what matters more, By leaning into faith, which I know is crazy or wild to some people, when it works out, it allows you to lean into it even more, doesn't it? And then all of a sudden, life actually simplifies. On the one hand, it looks like it gets harder because it goes against tradition, it goes against norms and standards. But when you know it works out and it's accurate, all of a sudden, you can lean into it more because almost like the universe has your back. The universe has a plan, it's guiding, it's putting things in place. And it got me thinking about that. I got the Lover's card, actually, I think it was. Because I said, well, what was the point of telling me that I had the job interview coming up by giving me I didn't know that was specifically was coming up, but I got the new beginning. And then when I asked about attending the job, I got the High Priestess. So I was like, what was the point of telling me? What was the point of me going through the whole thing? What was the point of telling me I'm going to get the job? What's the point of getting me to go there if I'm not supposed to be there? Like, that didn't make sense. I was thinking, that doesn't make sense. Then I got the Lovers. I was like, I get it. Like, immediately I understood. It was, if anyone was at my, obviously no one was at my interview, but I was so transparent. I was saying things that I didn't always have to say. I was just being so honest and truthful, and which helped later on with a question I didn't expect to come. I was just being honest, but there came a point where it was asked, like, what would set you apart from the other applicants? Like, why would we hire you over them or something? I said, well, I don't feel comfortable with that because I don't like. And I even said it to him in the interview. I said, I don't like self promotion. Like, I can tell you qualities I have about me, but I don't find it comfortable. And I can't possibly say without knowing other people like what my qualities are above them because I don't know if they're good at what they do or if they don't or whether they're honest and all these things. So I can't really speak on them. But all I would say is, everything I say is honest because, and I think the most obvious example of that is the fact that I've said things that I could have got away with not saying, but even now I'm telling you this is that, and that. So, you know, so when I say something, I mean it, and I just think that sometimes sets you apart. So that I was even honest about having my back's been a problem in the past. It's actually hurting a bit now, but and I recognise that could go against me, and you could just keep your mouth shut. But I thought, no, I'm just gonna say everything, and we'll just see how it goes. And I think that's what the Lovers was about. I think the Lovers card was representing the fact that you was vulnerable, you was honest, and you was chosen out of 100 people for the role. Like, that's what we wanted you to see. That it pays off to be like pure in a way, Be honest. Pays to be honest. And people appreciate you for that. And I thought, yeah, okay, I get it. Yeah. And also I think it showed me that I'm valued. Because I'm not usually it weren't that I weren't confident in the interview or anything. It's just I weren't confident I'd get it. I had my doubts. And especially if you're only hiring one person, you can't expect to get it. You can't always go into things thinking, I'm the one that's going to get it. I don't know the other qualities of other people. Don't know what someone's looking for, All these little things add up. And yeah, so I think the fact that I was picked out of everybody, I mean, that's a positive thing, isn't it? Like the feeling of being valued. So at the moment, yeah, my head I'll ask questions later in the week or whatever, and I'll just see where the cards lead me to a degree at times. But yeah, I just really want to touch on the fact that we do give an awful lot to roles, and it's up to us to carve our own life. Like personally, I think it's better to do the hours you want rather than chase the money. So if someone offers me £4,000 a year less, but it's the hours I want and a location that suits me, and the job is more interesting or whatever, it's like, okay, it makes more sense to me. Someone else to just chase the money and be miserable, and I don't like it. So because the commute is a bit of a distance, if there's anything on the road, any issues because of the distance to get there, that could make things a lot harder too. So if there's any issues with the car, it would be impossible for me to get there if there's an issue with the car. Whereas if you work local, you can get a taxi, you can get a bus, you can do different things to get to work. You have to consider that as well for reliability. So I don't know. All I'm doing is leaving it up to the universe to a degree. I'll see how it plays out over the next week. But I just felt like I would do this video. I'm surprised we've got on an hour. I honestly thought this was a 10-minute video. I thought it was just going to say what my mum said, and that's it. Don't think I did any more cards. If I did, I haven't recorded them. No, I didn't do it. But as you see there, hopefully people got a bit of an idea there about the signs I get, though. It's not just one sign. It's a continuation of multiple signs. And again, poignancy of it all. Yeah, I think I've said everything I need to say on this. Yeah. It's not, life ain't easy. Really ain't.